Which tools are better? GitHub Copilot, Cursor, OpenAI, Codex, or Claude Code? This video is about the evolution of AI development, about the three eras of AI-assisted coding. So the first was the web chat era. So developers used the ChatGPT to write the prompts and to receive some code. And then, copy-paste that code to IDE, and after pressing run, they finding out if the code worked or not. If the code didn't work, basically they could copy error, paste to ChatGPT, and find out if it works or not. So that was the first step working with AI development. The second one was already that AI was implemented in IDE. So for example, like a GitHub Copilot is integrated in a Visual Studio, is integrated in IntelliJ. So that was already nicer because the agent had already context of the whole code in a solution. So agent could modify more than one file, could finding out the context, could look to the other documentation that is in a solution or workspace, and could work and generate a code, build more files, and so on. That was already nice. So we had the IDE and agent that help. The same thing was with Cursor. So Cursor is as well. There is as well IDE. The IDE is basically some kind of evolution of the Visual Studio Code. So it was built based on the Visual Studio Code. So it's very similar. So the IDE of Visual Studio Code is not so sophisticated as in Visual Studio, but you still see a code. But what is more important, that you see as well agent and prompting mechanism. So here you write more by writing a prompt than by writing a code. You can write a code, but you know that is shifting on the right, and you can write more with prompts. So this was on the same level. So this was some kind of IDE era as I call it. And the next era is the multi-session CLI era. So for example, Claude Code. You don't have IDE here. You can only write a prompt. You write a prompt and the application is created. Of course, I wrote here a prompt: create web C# Razor pages with home as a menu, and he was created that one. And of course, he created with a .NET 8.0. I would prefer to have a 10 already, but he created. But there's no IDE. There is nothing, to see those code. You can just open, for example, the code, and you can see that something was generated. You can ask already to deploy, and you can deploy that code, and you can see the result. And of course, you can write some other prompts, and you can see the result on a local host. So that is quite how it works with a Claude. The same concept is with Codex. You write a prompt as well. You're receiving some files. Of course, you can look at these files. You notice some kind of like a preview, but there's no IDE. So that's already agent. But of course, that is here in those cases with a Claude and Codex. Here I use only one agent, but you can use a multi-session agent. So they can work in multiple sessions. They can work in a loop. So agents can read files, execute shell script, run test, and self-correct errors. They can develop in parallel as well. So the developers basically are not developing code. So the developer's role is transitioning from writing code to directing parallel AI workers. So that is another step. So the first was web chat era, the second is IDE era, and the third is multi-session CLI era. So in which stage are we in now? The question was which tools are better. So those tools are different. So for example, if you want to maintain old code, for example, and if you want to modify small files, maybe GitHub or GitHub Copilot or Cursor will be better. If you want to write a fast new solution based on prompting, and you want to use vibe coding to show something to business, for example, you can use a Codex or Claude. If you, for example, if you have a huge solutions with a lot of repositories, and you want to make direct changes in a lot of repositories, maybe Codex or Claude would be better than Copilot or Cursor, because they can lose the context, for example. So all kind of tools are very useful. Depends on your situation, on what do you want to do with those tools. But Copilot, Cursor, they work more with IDEs. Open AI Codex and Claude Code work more on like a command line interface, and you can write code from based on the prompt. So that is the evolution of AI development. Developers should use the tools that are needed in current situation. And for example, maybe some other thought that Codex and Claude, they're writing code, but they're writing, for example, code with the same prompt. We can receive different number of files, for example. Like Codex can generate less files, Claude sometimes can generate more files. Which is better? It depends. We can always see what is the generation, and we can always adjust the prompt if we like. Okay, thank you for watching. If you like the video, press like button, subscribe the channel, and see you in the next one. Thank you.